Remnant 2 is one of those games where you won't experience everything it has to offer the first time through, no matter how good of a gamer you are. It is very good at hiding all of its secrets behind deceptively simple but extremely addictive gunplay. It invites a level of build freedom that really elevates it above most of its peers and encourages you to explore all of its quirks and systems. It gives you intense and engaging boss fights that have more unique mechanics than an entire Ubisoft game. It nails the atmosphere with a thrilling soundtrack and detailed art style to really immerse the player in each new world they step on. And it even encourages replayability by letting you reload worlds you've already been to, completely changing the map layout in an almost roguelike fashion. You can really tell after playing for even a few hours that this is a polished game made by passionate developers that actually care about the player experience and want them to play their game because it's a genuinely fun time to play it, and not because they want to sell you some useless card packs or a battle pass or something like that. So basically the short version is that Remnant 2 is great, and if you have any interest, you should buy it right now. But if that's not enough for you, let's get into the why. The story of Remnant 2 is basically the same as the first game. The Root, which are these plant parasite-like creatures, are back, and still trying to kill everything in the universe, so we are sent across space and time to find a way to destroy them. What that entails is us using a giant crystal known as the World Stone to travel to several different alien planets, making some allies, but mostly enemies along the way. You've got a handful of beautifully handcrafted worlds to explore with loads of enemies, bosses, and puzzles unique to each world. However, the game takes a very linear, roguelike approach to exploration, with key regions and locations having their own zones on the map, separated by loading screens and connected by large procedurally generated pathways in the middle. This is where the replayability first starts, and that every time you start a new save or re-roll your campaign later on, it changes how every zone is built and connected all together. This means that the location of a boss or an important character is completely different than it was before, so you have to pretty much rediscover the entire map all over every time you re-roll. And there are a lot of secrets in this game, so chances are you're gonna run into something you didn't find the first time you played through. Plus, the different worlds are just awesome to look at, with my personal favorite being Narud, with all the machinery and gloomy deserts looking like the wasteland version of Earth in the Matrix movies, which I always wanted to see more of. And each of these worlds have their own set of obstacles that you have to face, usually in the forms of local wildlife or angry mobs trying to kill you. Combat in Remnant 2 is compared very heavily to FromSoft's Dark Souls games, with the addition of a wide arsenal of guns and melee weapons you collect across your journey. It's best described, in my opinion, as a constant exchange of blades and bullets, flying back and forth between you and your aggressors as you carefully manage your spacing, your ammo count, and your timing to enemy attacks coming at you. It's an incredibly engaging and entertaining experience, as it demands your constant attention to detail while also rewarding skilled, quick gunplay. That's the core of it. Then you add in class-specific skills that can be changed on the fly, consumable items with various effects, a personal trait system that gives you permanent bonuses to stats, armor sets with different resistances, rings and amulets with all kinds of situational effects, and weapon mods that can be slotted in and out of your weapons, which give you a massive sandbox of toys to play with there. The level of customization here is massive and gives the player a level of build freedom that I don't think many games can compete with. And you're going to need that level of freedom when you go up against the massive roster of different enemies and bosses in this game. I was constantly having to relearn the enemy's tactics since I was fighting new creatures every time I started to get comfortable. And that fact applies even more so during the boss fights, as most bosses can knock you down in 3 or 4 hits, and many have one-shot abilities as well. So it's all about memorizing every new enemy's moveset and timing your dodges perfectly. But in between firefights, there are slower puzzle sections that add a little curveball to the journey. But these aren't your normal Dora the Explorer level of puzzles, where the answer is hiding in a chest right in front of you. No, Gunfire hides its secrets in the world around you. In the lone tower you can barely make out in the distance. In an idle conversation you might have with a local. In a loose book you find torn on the ground. It's very well done how they almost dangle the answer right in front of you without telling you directly, instead expecting you to look at all the pieces of info it gives you and finding the thread that connects them together. And that's really the best way I can describe it. You've just got to find one and try it for yourself to see what I mean. And you can do those things and more in 3-player co-op, which basically triples the level of fun to be had here. However, it does increase the difficulty the more people you have, so just be aware of that. The only negatives I have for Remnant 2 is that with how fast the game tends to move, it doesn't spend a lot of time fleshing out all its unique worlds and cultures it exposes you to. Cultures like the prideful, goat-like tribes of the Pan, who live in the jungle world of Yeisha. You spend a lot of time on their world, and even save it from a root abomination, but you only speak to 3 or 4 Pan citizens on the whole planet, and that's it. Now there are collectible books and parchments that expand their history a bit, but I just think that it's a missed opportunity to really get the player invested in the very interesting cast of characters in Remnant's universe. Aside from that, is this game fun? Absolutely. Almost every aspect of this game is awesome, and I am looking forward to my next run through to try a different class build like the Gunslinger, mixed with some marksman skills to maximize the amount of trees I kill the second time around. Are you going to get 60 hours of playtime out of this? Not in one playthrough, no, but the game's not built with just one playthrough in mind. Like I said, the reroll option basically lets you infinitely change the design and layout of worlds you completed, so you can recapture that feeling of discovery over and over again, while also giving you the chance to organically run into all the little collectibles and missing secrets you missed before. And even if you don't, you can definitely still experience the heart of this game, which is its unique take on the Souls-like gameplay, giving it the well-deserved name of Souls with Guns. But that's all I have on Remnant 2, so thank you very much for watching this review. If you have any comments about this video, or about the game itself, and if you have a game you'd like me to review next, then let me know down in the comments below. Thank you again for watching, and goodbye.